Hey all, Tom Moran here from Tom's Big Spiders. To start this one off, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Richard Stewart, who sent me this awesome t-shirt from the Tarantula Collective. Now, if you haven't seen any of his videos, I would highly encourage you to go over and check him out. He's got a fantastic channel, some of the most beautiful setups I've seen. I am in total envy of his tarantula room. I've watched that video a couple times, and just the lighting, the cage is just beautiful stuff, and the guy knows what he's talking about. Plus, he also runs the Tarantula Collective Facebook group, which is my favorite. I don't get on Facebook all that much anymore, but when I do tend to go, I lurk, and that's my favorite one to lurk on because it seems to be pretty much drama-free. They tend to, tone things down quite a bit. I have a hard time with some of the Facebook groups because there's a lot of different sides and political things with the tarantula community there, and they tend to get into it, and I just don't want to be part of it. But his is always very positive, and I love that. They're supportive of the new keepers. When somebody asks a question, even though it may be one of the ones people deem stupid, people are usually very polite in helping him out, and I love that because that's what this should be all about. So please go out, check out Richard's channel. I'm going to put a link to his page afterwards, maybe a link to one of his videos. And definitely, if you're looking for a group to kind of socialize and everything, keep a lookout for the Tarantula Collective. They're amazing. So with that said, we're going to get on to the actual video portion of this and get me off the screen. But what we're going to be looking at here is an update on my two communals, my M. balfouris, and who are right behind me, and my Poecilotheria metallicas. And we're also going to do an update on my H. chilensis. One of my females just molted, but there's kind of a unique story about her and around her, so I kind of want to share this. I've already shared it on my podcast, but I want to open it up to my YouTube audience as well. So enough of me talking, enough of my ugly mug. Let's get on to the actual video. All right, to kick this one off, I got some footage of the M. balfouri right after a feeding. I don't know why this one's so short. It's only about 10 seconds. I think my phone malfunctioned or something, but I was hoping to get more of it. But here they all are. That's about the most you usually catch. And here we have two of them kind of getting frisky. As you can see, the female is in the lead. The male is in pursuit. What I found interesting about this one is the female's bum is straight up in the air, which is not something I've seen before of them. I think it's her kind of saying, like, back off. I've seen this from other species. Teocrity come to mind. Panthobedia species sometimes stick their abdomen straight up in the air. Haven't seen it from these guys, but if you look closely here, and I know the footage isn't particularly great, and I got to apologize for that, but unfortunately this is usually like first thing in the morning, and if I bump the enclosure, they sometimes bolt away, so I have to be very careful with how I manipulate the camera around it without spooking them. But she is actually carrying a cricket here. She had apparently come out hunting that evening, and the cricket is in her mouth, and he's trying to, get something started. He's a little frisky, and she doesn't want anything to do with it. You can see here, she's like, come on, just back off. So this went on for a little while. He finally abandoned it toward the end. But this is kind of what I can see when people say that they have an issue with the males in the enclosures, and the males can kind of upset the balance and the energy of the enclosures. I think this is probably what they're talking about, because what I've seen from the males is they're males. Their one thing they want to do, their sole purpose is to mate, and there's a limited amount of females in here, so they are going to give it every shot they can. So unfortunately, it ends up sometimes in situations like these where she really just wants to eat that juicy cricket she's got, and he's trying to coax her into getting frisky. So again, it's not. I've never felt that it caused any friction in the communal setup, but I have noticed that the males sometimes can be pushy. The cool thing is I have several males in this one, and a lot of times the males go at it with each other, and they both try to breed each other, and it keeps the females out from being bothered. So that's pretty cool. And up next, I was ecstatic to have caught this. This is my Poecilotheria metallica communal setup, and as you can see, several of the specimens are out eating. The one in the extreme, well, the closest one to the camera right now has a huge cricket burrito, and I was excited to catch this one because Poecilotheria metallica have a reputation for being particularly photosensitive. I know my older female was rather shy when the light was on her, although she seems to have outgrown that, and now she doesn't have any problem with it. She'll just, if she doesn't like the light, she'll kind of slowly climb behind her hide. However, these guys have been showing a lot of photosensitivity, and anytime I take the enclosure down to do any maintenance or anything, or when I turn the lights on in the morning, they scatter. So it was cool to catch this many of them out calmly feeding, and you can see there's no friction whatsoever. They hunt, they don't bother each other. I've been trying to catch some footage of them hunting because they'll grab, one will grab a cricket right next to another one, and there's no squabbling whatsoever. I've seen no issues over food, and then they kind of spread out and eat. So every once in a while you have one sitting right next to the other. In one instance, there's a really small one in there that was almost underneath one of the larger specimens. And something to note, the majority of them are around that 4-inch mark, and other folks who have kept Poecilotheria communals have reported that it's at that point that they start to see friction. Again, that's not necessarily with Poecilotheria metallica or specific to them. This was other types of pokey, so I know a lot of people are worried that the same thing's going to happen with the metallicas. I've heard from a couple people since posting some of the earlier videos that they've kept the communals with no problems with this species. I had a gentleman from, I believe it was Germany, telling us that over there they keep a lot of Poecilotheria metallica communals, and they actually do a lot of breeding that way. So hopefully somebody can chime in with more information on that, because I find that very, very interesting. But here they are all eating, and it looks like we may have a couple ladies in there, which is fantastic. And man, they're piggies. Look at the size of that burrito. Okay, and this one obviously doesn't involve a communal spider. However, it's a story I wanted to share because I found it incredibly intriguing. I did a podcast on it recently, and I chose the podcast format only because I was going to explain a lot of things, and it was going to be kind of long-winded, and I know people come here for videos and not me talking. So here is the encapsulated version. This spider here I bought in May of 2016 from a pet store. She started originally eating well. She had been really thin from being in the pet store, and unfortunately I had to kind of fatten her up a bit, but she fattened up, molted, seemed to be doing great. She ate twice, 2 small crickets, and then didn't eat again for another 2 years, 2 full years. I watched her just waste away. It was sad. I assumed at this point that she was just a mature female. I mean, a lot of the adult specimens, unfortunately, for the H. chilensis are pulled from the wild, so nobody knows how old they are. They could be old females on their last leg. So that's what I assumed was happening. So she got worse and worse and worse. One day I came in, found her in a death curl. Although her water dish was full, she wasn't anywhere near it, so I moved her over to her water dish, and she immediately drank, which was a good sign, and perked up a little bit. Came back 2 days later, same thing, death curl, put her in the water dish, she drank, perked up a little bit more. Woke up one morning, she looked terrible, and I was like, you know what, it was to the point where I was thinking I might need to euthanize her. Came home from work and got the shock of my life. She had molted, and now this was weird because she hadn't eaten in 2 full years. I don't know if something in the last molt went wrong and her sucking stomach perhaps was damaged. I'm not sure what the deal was. She had her fangs, but she obviously wasn't eating. She molted though, and you can see some of the abdominal skin is still stuck on her abdomen there. I am loosening that up. I will take a paintbrush and dip it in some warm water and kind of brush it, and it's starting to peel up. And I assume once she starts to put on some weight, it'll help kind of dislodge it. So I'm not worried about it yet. The anus and the spinnerets are not affected by it, so she should be good. But as you can see here, she's going on a walkabout. She's become incredibly active again. She has actually eaten 5 times since this. In about a month's time, she's eaten 5 crickets, which is more than she ate the whole last 2 years put together. She's been digging, doing a little bit of tunneling, a little bit of webbing, and back to looking like a normal spider. The only issue I see with her is, besides obviously the skin stuck to the abdomen, is if you look carefully, her back legs are kind of bent and misshapen, and they're a little bit crippled in that respect. However, she seems to get around well. She's hunting okay, and she's starting to put on some size. I mean, her abdomen after that molt was ridiculously small. I was actually concerned she wasn't going to be able to eat anything because she was so emaciated. But as you can see, she's perking back up, doing great. So I'm hoping for a full recovery in this one, and I'm going to continue to feed her as much as I can get her to eat, because I'm afraid she's going to stop eating again, because that's something I've seen with these guys. The fast can be long and kind of devastating. All right, so the chilensis continue to blow my mind. Again, I have a funny feeling this is something to do, at least some of the behaviors are something to do with the fact that many of the ones that came in previously were wild caught. I'm glad that they've closed that off. Now we have to learn how to breed them and get, captive bred specimens. We shouldn't be pulling them out of the wild, but I think a lot of the old females we get some of those unusual behaviors with. This one in particular, I mean, I've never seen anything like this, eaten once in 2 years or twice in 2 years, and then molting suddenly. So I'm guessing something must have went wrong in one of those molts. Either her stomach was screwed up or whatever, but she's looking good now. She has eaten 6 times, which is more than she's eaten in the last 3.5 years I've got her combined. So that's great. Fingers crossed she's going to do well. And I will continue trying to soften up that extra skin on her abdomen, try to get that off of her. I'm hoping between softening up and as she naturally expands from eating that it'll slip away. And usually I've had pretty good luck with that. So that'll about do it for this one. Again, please check out Richard's channel, Tarantula Collective. And if you're looking for a place to socialize, again, check out the Facebook group. They're amazing. If you want to check out some of my more of my videos, I'll put one of mine here. I'll put one of Richard's here. I'll put subscribe to my channel up here, and then I'll put subscribe to Richard's channel up here. That'll about do it. Please leave comments. Love getting comments. I try to answer them all. And I've started my summer vacation today. I'm a teacher. I'm very excited, and it's going to give me a lot of extra time to keep up with them. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys all next time.